Hello, everybody. All right, is my mic on? Sorry for being late. No excuses. But here I am now. All right. So today we are going to be talking about how to overcome negative, emotional, unconscious blocks. You guys have been asking me this. I mean, this is probably the most asked question I get. Mahadeva, how can I overcome my fill in the blank? How can I overcome my fear? How can I overcome my laziness? How can I overcome my blocks to success? I mean, whatever it is. You fill in the blank with some negative emotion, and you want me to tell you how to overcome the feeling. So, as you know, I usually respond to those questions in a rather aggressive manner, which is, when did I ever tell you you were supposed to get over anything? I've never said that. I never will. This will be the one time that I will ever use that phrase, get over your negative emotions. But instead of getting over your negative emotions, you have to use them. Emotions are energy. You are energy. The way that energy manifests in consciousness is through emotions, not through thoughts, by the way. You must first control your emotions before you can control your thoughts. I'm using air quotes because both of those things are ridiculous. You can't control your emotions. You can't control your thoughts. Waste of time. Stop trying. The thing to do is to find balance. It would be like trying to control the weather. There's a thunderstorm coming and you're going to try and control that. How? There's a lightning bolt coming at you and you're going to try and control that. How are you going to control that? You're not. You can harness it. You can harness the wind. You can harness water. You can harness electricity. You have to allow these things to happen, and then you use them to empower you. Now, as you noticed, I haven't even gotten to the topic of how do you transform your emotions, because that's what you guys want. I'm no different than you, so when I point fingers at you, I'm also pointing a finger at myself, either as I am now or as I've been in the past. And it can be very challenging because emotions can be very overwhelming. Your experience is that your emotions are stopping you. This is the big lie. You hear that on the news a lot. There's a thing called the big lie. Well, the big lie in terms of New Age spirituality is the secret, the law of attraction. The law of attraction is a big lie. Remember, if you've watched any of my videos, and I strongly recommend that you do, if you've watched any of my videos about critical thinking, which, by the way, critical thinking is absolutely necessary if you want to be able to determine what the truth is. If you do not have critical thinking skills, you will not know the truth. Somebody can come along and give you incomplete or outright false information, and you may believe it. And you know what I say, that everything is based on assumptions. If your assumptions, your deeply held unconscious beliefs about how anything is, the universe, yourself, if you have incorrect assumptions, you will then make incorrect conclusions, which will mean that you will make incorrect actions, which will result in unhappy circumstances. So let me break it down for you very simply before we start talking about emotions. If you are unhappy in your life, it is a result of you taking actions, which includes your beliefs, you have been taking actions which have resulted in the universe responding in a less than ideal manner. So the universe, the way life works is the universe and life and people and your body and energy responds to your actions. Your actions, if you are not fully awakened and evolved, which the majority of us aren't, your actions will be a result of your feelings. Your feelings will stimulate your intellect, which you think is your mind, which it's not. Your emotions will stimulate your intellect to come up with thoughts. And you will think that your thoughts are determining your reality. And so you're going to spend time thinking positive thoughts, thinking that those thoughts are what create your reality. And that's not what happens. That is purely a narcissistic scenario within yourself. Again, partial truth. Your actions are the result of your emotions. Your emotions are a result of your base unconscious programming running into objective reality. So let's be clear, those of you who feel that you are trapped in the matrix, you are trapped in a matrix. It is called Maya, illusion. And it is a three-dimensional virtual reality. It is a reality. It's not fake. It is a reality. It is a virtual reality for the soul. There's only 3 dimensions to it. You are a multi-dimensional being. So you do live in this constructed reality, and you experience it through your physical senses. And this 3-dimensional physical reality is going to respond to your actions. You thought I was going to say thoughts. It doesn't respond to your thoughts. You thought I was going to say it's going to respond to your feelings. It doesn't respond to your feelings. It responds to your actions. You respond to your emotions. Your emotions are a reaction to your unconscious programming interfacing with 3-dimensional reality. When this happens, there's a feedback, and you have a response to that feedback. If you are a human being, you have been programmed by your past life, by your childhood, especially the first 3 years. The most important programming happens in the first 3 years of your life. You have parents out there, you got 3 years to get it right. You don't get it right after 3 years, that's what you're going to end up with. You've programmed it, it's going to be self-sustaining from then on, and then that being is going to have to deal with the fallout of whatever programming you put into it. You got 3 years to get it right. Your base programming has an assumption, a belief about itself, and a belief about the external universe, and a belief about what it deserves and what will happen and who does what and how things work. These are all programmed into the mind of the human being, who then projects that outward and then responds as though their programming is truth. If your programming is not aligned with objective reality, you are going to have a glitch in the matrix, which means you are going to experience something negatively. You're going to be sad, angry, bored, confused, poor, ill. You won't have good relationships, or some variance of that, somewhere on a scale. If 10 is perfect and 0 is death or suicide, you're going to be somewhere between 1 and 9, based on how accurate your programming is. So your emotions happen when you're programming. You go out into the world based on the universe does this, I deserve that, this is how things work, whatever it is, however you've been programmed. And you're not aware of it. You're running around with this programming, you project it onto the world, you MGTOWs out there. Anybody who's a red pill MGTOW, here's what I already know about you. Your mother didn't love you well enough. I'm not judging you. She did not pick you up and hold you. She did not tell you that you're a big, strong boy and you're going to be successful. She didn't rub your back enough or kiss your boo-boo, or she didn't do enough of that. How do I know that? Because you will write books, literally books, about how women are programmed to take your money, take your semen, take your energy, lie to you. You're only good to them to the degree that you can give them money and status, all that stuff. That's your programming. You can't, no matter, when you look out in the world, that's what you see. It won't matter what I say. Even if I come up next to you and show you the most beautiful, loving, kind, perfect woman in the world, and she's dating me, which I've had, if I were to bring her to you, you wouldn't see that. You would then turn that into, well, it's because he's muscular. No, it's because he's a teacher. It's because he's rich, and I'd say, no, it's none of those things. You're going to say, no, that's what it is. And so, in other words, you're saying, I can't have that. So, I'm going to be resentful against you. I'm going to dislike her. And so you MGTOWs don't know that you are projecting that onto the universe and you expect that to happen. So when things don't turn out the way you want, you're going to have an emotional response. Now you think, which is why I titled it, you think that your negative emotions are blocking you. Those of you who follow the law of attraction, you feel the same thing. You think that your negative emotions are blocking you, and they're not. Here's the truth of the matter. The universe cares probably 2 to 5% about your feelings. The universe will respond very slightly to your energy and to your feelings. The universe is going to respond to your actions. It is much more interested in your actions than in anything else. But if you're following the law of attraction, which tells you that your positive feelings the universe will give you positive things. If you if you have negative feelings or doubt or fear or anger or negativity, then the universe will respond to you with anger. And that's true. You can see that. You hang around with somebody, and if you're angry with them, they'll counter project and they'll get angry with you. If you feel positive about yourself, yes, people will turn around and see you positively. But the energy is only this much. The actions are this much. I'm an actor. Here's what I've learned. I was a method actor. If you know anything about that, a method actor is somebody who says, I'm going to feel all the emotions. That good acting means I feel all the emotions of the character. And some method actors, some are, I'm trying to think of, all the method actors of 60s and 70s. Some of them were great actors, but that wasn't because they were constantly feeling things. They think it was, but it wasn't. What I learned was that if you just show up in costume, hit your mark, stand under the correct light, and deliver your lines in a way that people can hear, and you don't put anything extra into it, or you just allow the words to do what they're going to do, whether you feel it or not, the audience will stand up, and because they're the ones that are going to have the feeling. As long as you just show up and you're just as authentic as you can be and just deliver the lines, just do your job, the play will go well. The writer's already written all the stuff into it. If you happen to have some tears and some emotions, so much the better. That means you're enjoying the ride. But it doesn't mean that you're a good actor. Same is true with life. You think if you show up and if you are righteous, you have good spiritual feelings, I'm full of love and light and I don't have any negativity in me, therefore everything's going to go my way, and then it doesn't. It's because you're wrapped up in the narcissism of my feelings make the universe angry or sad or happy. This is infantile. This is what infants believe. Infants believe that their emotions rule the universe. Infants believe they can kill you with their anger. If you are following the law of attraction and you say to yourself, if I have happy, loving, spiritual thoughts, happy, loving, spiritual things will happen, the universe will look at you and go, wow, there's that person over there really wrapped up in themselves. So when are you going to take some action so I can respond? Somebody else comes along who's filled with fear, anger, doubt, prejudice, self-hatred, hatred for others, insecurity, and they take actions that would be normally associated with somebody that had different feelings. The universe is going to go, oh, look, that guy's not wrapped up in his selfishness right now, and he's taking actions that are stimulating us to want to give that person money, happiness. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you do. But the problem is, your actions are based on your feelings. Unless you've taken the warrior path to become fully enlightened, which means that you take full responsibility for your internal narcissistic experience and you take conscious action either in spite or regardless of your narcissistic experience. This is called being brave. This is called being noble. This is called being generous. And the universe and everybody else responds positively to those actions. All right, so let's talk about the 5 elements and your emotions. So here we have the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, earth. You can replace ether with wood and air with metal if you want to see the Taoist. And I love it because if you go counterclockwise, you have the cleansing progression of the elements: wood, metal, fire, water, earth. This is the progression of elements that we use in Maoshan sorcery. There's another way to do it, which I teach here in the 90-day challenge at thethunderwizard.com. So before I go any further, before you start asking me how do I learn this stuff, you go to thunderwizard.com. You click around until you see 90-day lightning qigong. You click around until you see warrior 90-day lightning qigong. You subscribe. You then go and scroll down till you see level 1. You'll scroll down in the videos that are private for subscribers, and you will see Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong level 1. You're going to click on that video and you're just simply going to follow along with me and do the exercises. And then as you get to levels 2 and level 3, you're going to learn how to harness these 5 elements with your emotions. Now, on here, there's a word negative emotions. So let me just explain to you. There's no such thing as a negative emotion. There's just emotions. You judge them because you don't like them. They don't feel good. They're overwhelming. But there's nothing wrong with them. There's only negative actions. There's no such thing as a negative thought. There's no such thing as a negative feeling. Remember, thoughts and feelings are simply reactions to your programming bumping up against objective reality. And when your programming and objective reality are on different wavelengths, it's going to create some kind of conflict, which you are going to have a reaction to. That reaction is an emotion, and if it is an unpleasant emotion, you are going to call it a name like anger, sadness, confusion, but that's all it is. But you also have the same thing happens when your programming or your consciousness, which you've worked for, which may be opposite your programming. Either way, you take actions based on that, and if that is in alignment with the objective three-dimensional reality, you will have a positive experience which will result in a reaction of happiness, joy. These things are all simply responses to stimulus. That's all they are. You know what makes somebody crazy? A crazy person is somebody who has irrational responses to objective reality. What does that mean? That means every human on the planet is crazy. Some are more crazy than others. They project really irrational stuff, or they have really irrational responses to reality, and they're very unhappy. That's really all that craziness is. So if you want to be sane, sane doesn't mean that you have perfect feelings, which results in the universe giving you perfect things. It means that you have whatever feelings, good or bad. Your feelings mean nothing to the universe. Sorry. I know that's hard on the less mature. They want to be given pats on the back for their feelings. The universe could care less about your feelings. But if you have programming and or actions that are in alignment with the universe, you're going to get things that you experience as good, as healthy and happy, and you're going to have healthy, happy responses. You may even have this. This is something that people are, myself included, is that you may change your actions to align with the universe, and those actions may be completely opposite to what your thoughts and your feelings and your programming is telling you to do. And even though you go against your thoughts, your feelings, and your programming, and you do what you know the universe is going to respond positively to, you'll end up with positive things: money, love, happiness, and you may have very strong negative feelings. You didn't think that was going to happen. You thought if you got all the things that you wanted, that you would be happy. But the problem is that you've got this programming that doesn't go away. And so you're going to have negative feelings many times when actually you're getting everything you want. And this is when we need to know how to balance these 5 elements, which are associated with emotions. So up here at the top, we can call that ether or wood, spirit, it doesn't matter. Energy when it manifests. Bear in mind that everything around you is energy. Physicists know this. If you break, everything down, the most hard physical thing, if you get deep enough inside it, you find out that there's no solid anything. There's more space. There's far more space here than there is actual stuff. So anything that comes into the universe is going to manifest from energy. And these energies have what's called phases, 5 phases. So we call them the 5 elements, but in the Taoists, they actually call them the 5 phases. Phases, phases. Because this energy will go through phases as it materializes in 3-dimensional reality. The least dense, the most expansive, what in the Western they call spirit or ether. Ooh. They call it wood in the Chinese because what do trees do? They expand. So wood expands as it grows. So ether is an expansive energy that is most closely associated with just pure life force energy. And so when this comes into, when energy comes into manifestation, it will show up first as ether. All right, so when ether expands, it then has to contract. Because if it keeps expanding, then nothing happens. Then you just have, which is, cancer is just expanding cells. I mean, if things keep expanding, that's not a good thing. So after it expands, it's going to then need to contract. And that is what we call air or metal. In the body, when you inhale, which would be the ether element, your lungs expand, your blood fills with oxygen, your body fills with life force energy, and then your lungs get to a certain point and they stop. If you kept inhaling and force it, your lungs would explode, just like we saw right here. Your lungs would explode. That would be bad. But even there, if you just saw, Dr. Manhattan here showed this principle where he expanded, whatever the hell that was, a tank or whatever it was. He expanded the tank and then he contracted it. So it kind of looks like he had to do that. He first had to expand it and then contract it. Let's watch again. He's going to show the interplay between wood and metal, or ether and air. So when you inhale, you reach capacity, then the only thing left to do in order to get more energy is you have to contract. And then you can inhale again. And once energy has gone through the contraction phase, then it goes through the fire phase, which is rising. So you have expanding, thank you, Dr. Manhattan, contracting, and then you have rising, which is fire. Fire goes to water, which is descending. And then you have, after that, you have earth, which is centering. These are the chakras, in case you didn't know. Ether, air, fire in the navel, water in the sexual center, earth. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Wood, metal, fire, water, earth. It means when energy descends into manifestation, it goes through these 5 phases. Your emotional life, any emotion that you are having, which by the way, you are having emotions all the time. If you think being enlightened means having no emotions, no, that's being dead. If you're dead, you have no emotions. If you're alive, you have emotions. You're either aware of them or you're not. Most people, especially people who try to be spiritual, seek to deaden their emotions. How do I know that? Because you smoke weed. You take ayahuasca. You drink. You smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes, whenever I see somebody smoking a cigarette, I walk by and under my breath I say, that's right. Stuff that anger back down in there. Stuff that sadness back down in there. That's exactly what you're doing. When you're inhaling that smoke, you're stuffing that anger, that sadness, you're stuffing it down. I don't want to feel that. Don't. This is, people then do it with spirituality. Weed, drugs, entheogens, sex, video games. These are all ways to try and deaden your emotions because they're too overwhelming, or you have shame associated with them because when you were being programmed as that 3-year-old, and this movement here means the basis. You're creating your hard drive, the basis of your hard drive, your programming. When that was happening, you were either encouraged by your parents to have all of your feelings, or you were shamed out of them. Stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. Go in the corner. Think about what you did. You can come back when you're not angry anymore. Better wipe that frown off your face, young man, or I'll give you something to cry about. Or you had parents who said, come here, that's okay, it's okay, I love you, it's okay. Most of the people who seek spirituality, who seek the most intense spirituality, myself included, are people who were shamed out of their feelings, and you're trying to run away from them. And you think by being a spiritual person, you'll be able to escape these feelings. But your energy, you are a being of energy. And in 3-dimensional reality, your energy is constantly fluctuating. You look at the 5 phases here because energy goes through 5 phases. Your emotions are bouncing around in one of these phases, which we call the elements, at any given point in time. If you are in wood or ether, you feel secure, you feel this expansiveness, you feel generous, you feel brave, you feel noble, you feel energetic, you feel powerful. This is Thor. Thor's element is wood because he's life force energy. When you get too full of yourself, when your ego becomes too much of a big deal, then the air or the metal comes in to contract you down to size or to chop you down. And this is when people will criticize you. You will feel criticized, or somebody will need to, hey, wake up. This is what's really happening. You're too full of yourself in this way. And then after you have been chopped down to size, that's going to make you angry. And up will come the fire. The fire will come to burn off the impurities. You will try and defend yourself against the attack that's just come at you. Somebody's cut you down to size, criticize you. You're going to get angry about that. You may get angry at yourself, and you will self-purify. The fire will create a purification within you where you say, I'm going to improve, I will be better. Up comes the fire. Then the water. The water will want to put the fire out. You can't be angry forever. You can't be self-purifying or purifying of others forever. At some point the water has to come in, and the water will put out the fire. When we go through this in relationships, somebody will be too wrapped up in their narcissism, which will be the expansiveness of wood. That will bump into the other person's narcissism in the relationship, and they will, hey, you're this, you're that. You know what your problem is, and they'll come at you with the metal. And that there may be truth, it may not be true, but it's going to come at you trying to chop you down to size. You're going to get angry. Hey, don't tell me what I need to do. I'm just being myself. How dare you, get inside my boundaries like that? And then you're going to say, you bad, and you're going to get angry when the other person's then going to get sad. And they're going to say, I'm sorry, it's just you did that. And then you're going to get sad because you're going to see they're sad. And your fire's going to go out. And then you're going to come together. The water always comes together and finds level ground. And then you'll come together, you'll hug, and you'll wipe each other's tears. And then will come the earth, the grounding, where everything comes together. It's usually, you're going to have sex afterwards. You're going to have makeup sex. It's the earth grounding everything, together. And solidifying the commitment, the connection. You make something out of all of that. You are somewhere in that. Now, it may not be that. It might be something else going on. There may be another elemental progression going on. But if you want to succeed, I'm sorry to tell you, you can't overcome your feelings. So here I'm going to now show you how much the title was clickbait, because I know that people are going to click on overcoming negative emotions. I want to learn how to do that. I want to be able to destroy my subconscious blocks. I did that on purpose too, because as you know, if you followed my channel, it's not subconscious, it's unconscious. But the vast majority of people, including even many psychologists, will use the word subconscious when they mean unconscious. So, I fooled you. I manipulated you into watching this video knowing what you were going to say, but unfortunately you cannot overcome your negative feelings. You must transform them. You must use the other elements to transform them, and that means you have to have them, because they're your battery pack. Your battery is fueled by your emotions. If you have too much of one emotion, your battery is going to burn itself out. So, it's like when you drive a car, the battery is charged because you're driving the car. There's a belt. I don't know, maybe it's different now, but when they used to have belts, right? You're driving and there's a belt, and you turn it around and it creates this electricity which charges the battery. Driving the car will charge the battery. You having your emotions will charge your battery. If you stifle the emotions, what's going to happen? Your battery's going to go down and you're going to say, I'm really tired, I'm really overwhelmed, I just can't handle all these feelings. You're not supposed to handle them. You're supposed to let them empower you. You're operating too much in the anger, too much in the sadness, too much in the confusion, which is earth, the negatives of that. That means that you're not letting the other elements come in and create this balance. We live in a balance. A shaman, the reason why I call myself a shaman is because shamans are associated with balancing nature. Shamans don't go like, Jesus came, or Buddha or Muhammad. These guys came to deaden everything and give you the answer. Here's salvation. That's why it's so popular. That's why people want to repent and give their lives to Jesus. That's why people want to, get angry and create jihad. That's why Buddhists want to pretend they don't have any emotions and they're just in this blissful state of Zen. It's because it's this human desire to squash the feelings. Now the truth is, Taoism and Buddhism actually don't squash the feelings, but a huge amount of people who, are Buddhists are doing it for the wrong reasons. Eventually they'll learn how to do it. But the reason why I call myself a shaman is because a shaman says, no, there's this huge storm coming. I'm not going to try and stifle the storm. I'm going to watch how that rainstorm comes in with the wind and the lightning and all of the rain, and it's going to nourish things. The lightning is going to start a fire, which is going to burn off all of the excess wood and bushes, and then the water is going to take the ashes and put it into the earth, and it's going to create with the minerals. Then you have metals that are formed, and then new life comes up, and I'm going to watch this whole transformational process. It's dynamic. It's not static. That's why I call myself a shaman. And I'm here to tell you that that is where you are going to find your power. A sorcerer, a magician, does not seek to stifle the lightning. Seeks to merge with it and become part of it. If you want to spiritually advance, you must go through continued Dr. Manhattan experiences where you are taken apart in a very horrific, painful way and put back together. That's the bad news. There's no easy way out. But once you are able to master these and put yourself back together, then instead of being limited by the elements, you use them, you transform them. You can manifest reality like Dr. Manhattan is doing here. And even in the movie, I like this movie, even though Dr. Manhattan masters physical reality, he still has to go through an emotional, on a much deeper level, he has to go through an emotional transformation. He must evolve emotionally. And in that movie, the Watchmen, he goes through that. I didn't read any of the comic books or anything, but I enjoyed that. You see what I'm doing over here is I'm all the things I'm doing, all the strange little footwork and all the stuff you see me doing here, which is part of the Mao Shan. All of that is stimulating the energies, the phases. And you must be willing to change, to transform, if you want to overcome your problems. I just got asked a question by somebody. I'll read it because it just, it just keeps happening over and over again. Asking the same questions, even though I've answered those same questions. People can't help it. They can't help but ask me, how can I overcome this? How can I, whatever it is. How can I change this? Where is it? Somebody's been on my channel a lot. Chong the Viking. You might even be watching now. Chong the Viking. I castigated you because you asked a question that I've answered many times. You keep asking me the same question. How do I overcome laziness and fear, he says. And I respond, you've watched my videos. When have I ever said you're supposed to overcome anything? You're not supposed to overcome laziness and fear. You're supposed to transform it. You cannot transform it if you don't first feel it. And if your laziness and your fear is energy, because think about it. First off, let me just say this. There's no such thing as a lazy person. There's no such thing in the universe. The amount of energy that it takes to stay in bed when you need to get up, it takes more energy for you to stay in bed. It takes more energy on the unconscious level to force yourself to go back to sleep when you're depressed and you don't want to get out of bed. It takes more energy to be homeless, literally. I mean, it really does. I mean, I know because I've seen it. I've watched my own brother became homeless. As far as I know, he still is. And the truth is that if he put 1/10 of the effort into staying homeless, if he put 1/10 of the effort that he puts into staying homeless into anything, he would rule the world. Because if he just relaxed, there's all kinds of programs that want to pick him up and put him back on his feet again. But he doesn't want to do that. You are not lazy. Laziness takes effort. You are working really hard to stay what you think is lazy. The question is, why? What is happening on the unconscious level that is telling you to put all of your effort into not succeeding? That's what you have to learn. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is that it's called unconscious for a reason. It means you're not conscious of it. Not only are you not conscious of it, you can't snap your fingers and choose to be conscious of it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the unconscious. It would be called the semi-conscious. It's the unconscious. So what my friend Chong the Viking is asking me here is, he doesn't realize it, but he's asking me, how do I redirect all of the unconscious energy that's going towards not doing anything? How do I redirect all of that energy towards doing something constructive that will make me successful and happy? That's his real question. How do I redirect all of that energy, which I experience as laziness, towards doing something positive? Well, unfortunately, that can't be done until you're conscious of why. I have a shortcut. The shortcut is you learn to do the opposite. You do the exact opposite of what your energy is driving towards. If it's laziness, if you've come to the conclusion that your energy, that your emotions, that your unconscious programming is driving you to do things that you rationally know don't work. So the other thing that my friend Chong the Viking is saying when he says, how do I overcome laziness, is he's saying, I am conscious that these impulses to sit on my ass and watch television and eat Cheetos, or that's how I would do it. However, he is lazy. That he knows consciously that that is not constructive. But he can't stop himself. He feels like he can't overcome that feeling. So he asks me, how do I overcome it? He wants to kill it. He wants to kill the desire to be lazy. He wants to kill it, and he wants me to help him do it. And I say, I'm not going to help you do that. I'm not going to help you commit suicide. All that energy going towards your laziness is the same energy you're going to need to be successful. You just got to redirect it in another direction. You're not going to know what direction it's going to until you know why you're doing it. You won't know why you're doing it. Here's the catch-22, because it's unconscious. So here's what you do. You find out from me or from somebody else, you find out what is the opposite. So you want to become Mr. Olympia, but you have this drive for laziness. You have this drive to sit and eat ice cream and watch soap operas in your underwear, but you know that you have to get up off your ass and go to the gym. Well, in that case, the answer is pretty obvious. You have to get up off your ass and go to the gym. Now, your unconscious programming, which thinks that your survival depends on you sitting in bed and eating ice cream, because that's what's going on. Laziness is actually somebody's survival mechanism pointed in the wrong direction. That's why you can't overcome it. You can't overcome your laziness because your whole survival instinct is pushing you to be lazy. We could get into why, but I don't have time to do that. So instead, you have to do the opposite. So you realize, okay, I have to get up off my ass and I have to go to the gym. And then what's going to happen is your unconscious survival mechanism is going to kick in. And it is going to go haywire, and you are going to have some really uncomfortable feelings. Your unconscious is going to do whatever it can to stop you. It may make you hungry. It may make you tired. You say to yourself, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym in 5 minutes, and next thing you know, you're passed out. You wake up 5 hours later, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't go to the gym today. If that doesn't work, then you're going to feel afraid. You're going to feel stupid. You're going to shame yourself. Oh my God, I'm so overweight. People in the gym are going to see me. I'll do it tomorrow. No, my wrist hurts. Oh, you're going to get up out of bed. You're going to trip and break your toe. And you go, I can't go to the gym. I just broke my toe. Your unconscious will find a way to try and stop you with everything you had. You know, the mistake that Dr. Manhattan made of walking into that, whatever the hell that chamber is, was the best mistake of his life. You want that. You wish somebody would come along and snap their fingers and make you go through a transformation. But this transformation is symbolic. It's a choice. You have to choose to do it. If you don't choose to do that, it won't ever happen. So stop looking for the pill, the blue pill or the red pill. Stop looking for the thing that's going to exit the matrix. Stop looking for the perfect thing that's going to give you enlightenment. Stop waiting for the universe to transform you. None of those things are going to happen unless you make the decision. And that's going to take action. So my friend, Chong the Viking, you can't overcome your laziness. You have to address it and feel it, and then if you're not able to switch it around and point it in the right direction, then you have to rebel. You have to do the opposite, and then you have to feel all of the horrible feelings that are going to come along. So stop trying to change your feelings, everybody. You can't do it. Start learning how to transform them. And we do this in the Thunder Wizard. We do this in the Thunder Wizard Warrior 90-Day Challenge. I give you the tools. I teach you exactly what to do. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to understand it. Press play and just simply follow along with me and follow the directions. And then, those of you who have done it know what I'm talking about. You're going to start emailing me. I get emails every day. Which, by the way, if you're part of the Patreon, email me on Patreon. Don't email me on my private email, please. That's my private email for business and personal use. Email me on the Patreon. That's if you become a subscriber there, then you can email me directly. And people email me on a daily basis telling me I'm on level 2 or I'm on level 3 and this crazy thing has happened and all this energy and all of these feelings and what do I do and how, and I go, oh, congratulations, it's working. Keep doing it. You're now in the transformation phase. Keep going. So if you go to thunderwizard.com, click around for Warrior 90 Days, sign up. And hey, if you don't like it, unsubscribe. It's just not that big of a deal. I don't understand people who say I can't afford it. I really don't understand that. Unless you're homeless, I can't imagine not being able to afford a month that much for. I don't understand it. All right, so we've got through that. Let's take a look at all the questions. I'm going to get to some of the later questions because I saw that God Emperor He doesn't wait for me to finish talking. I wasn't even on there and he was dumping his questions. So I'll come back to God Emperor a little bit later. All right. Vincent.thunderwizard.com says hello. You can get a Vedic reading from him at his website, vincent.thunderwizard.com. He is one of my astrology apprentices. Jedi Black Knight, question. After 5 months of daily practice, a sprained ankle has forced me to take a break from standing postures. What did I just say? That your unconscious mind can cause you to have physical injuries. You'll trip over something. You'll accidentally. No, your unconscious set it up. You sprained your ankle has forced you to take a break from standing postures. I'm doing sitting postures for a while, but can the Sifu hands be done sitting down? Yes. Jedi Black Knight question. Can the wood set from the Mao Shan method, which I purchased, be done stand alone? Yes. Or should I wait for all 5 sequences ready? No. I've just uploaded the metal. So bear in mind, if you go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com, you will see that there are 2 of the elements up. Now, I've filmed all 5 elements. I'm waiting for a reason. Because each time I add an element, guess what? The price is going to get higher. So I'm giving people an opportunity who are complaining about money to save some money. So if you go now and you purchase that now, there's only 2 elements there, you're going to save some money. Each time I upload an element, the price goes up. So, no, you can keep doing those 2. What I would do is you do the wood and then the metal, and then you do the 5 element breaths. You do the rest of them. So you do wood and then metal, and then you do fire, water, earth, and then the central channel breath. And each time you get an element, then you can add an element. So you should do all of them. Having said that, there are 2 elements that are safe to do all by themselves. One is wood. Why is that? Because wood has all of the elements in it, and all of the elements come from ether, come from wood. So when you practice wood, you're really doing a very healthy energy which just empowers you more energetically. The other element that's safe to do all by itself is earth. And you do that anyway if you're doing the Hool breath. Those of you who are new to this channel, go and search for this, Hool breath. You can search for it anywhere and you'll see you might even see other people's videos come up, but you'll see my video come up teaching you how to do the Hool breath. That is, if anybody complaining about, I don't want to spend any money, why are you a spirit? That I give away for free, among many other things. And if you do that breath, in fact, I challenge anybody to do that breath for 1 hour a day for a year. Do it for a year, 1 hour a day for a year. And then tell us all the incredibly huge energetic and spiritual transformations that have happened. Doing that breath connects you to the lineage, which means the lineage of ascended masters who are channeling exercises through me. So if you want to connect directly to them, you can do the Hool breath. You can also do the Awakening the Immortals Qigong. If you don't know what that is, go on my channel and look for it. Get up off your ass and figure out how to search somebody's channel. Awakening Immortals. Do that every day. If you do that every day, you'll have more power than 90% of all spiritual practitioners in the world, including yoga masters and Tai Chi masters. Don't believe me? I'm giving it away to you for free. Prove me wrong. Do it for a year and prove me wrong. I dare you. All right. What else? Kunga Dorje. I don't think... Kunga Dorje, at what point did I say I want your opinion? Think hard. I'll give you a couple seconds. At what point did I say that the question and answer was you giving me your opinion? So let me be clear. I want honest questions, which means you're asking me a question about something you think I have the answer to. You're not being passive aggressive and giving me a statement behind a question. If you make a statement, you are virtually guaranteed that I am going to eviscerate you in front of the world. I'm really, really good at calling people on their bullshit. If somebody wants to argue with me about something, it means that what I've said has stimulated them and they need to defend something. I don't even know you exist until you make a comment. So I'm now thinking Kunga Dorje. I'm already, because I just saw the first few words in it, I'm already completely, totally eviscerating you. And I'm about to do it publicly. Because if you're thinking this way, so are a bunch of others, and I'm helping them. I may end up offending you and hurting you. It's not my intention. But don't throw your ignorance to the world. When you don't ask me a question, you are taking the risk of me revealing your ignorance to the world, your delusion. He says, I don't think weed is all that if I've done medicinal. So you've taken the word medicinal, and because it's medicinal now, all of a sudden that changes everything? Watch my channel, learn how to do it. There is a video on there about marijuana. I tell you exactly what happens energetically when you take THC. I'm not talking about CBD, that's something else. THC. When you do THC, whether you eat it, whether you smoke it, whether you drop it in your eyes or whatever the hell people do now to get THC. By the way, the levels of THC that are in marijuana nowadays are unbelievable. They are so toxic. Way back when Chinese medicine was using wild cannabis, like cannabis, they call it weed for a reason because it grows like weeds. And people would harvest these weeds and use them medicinally. They had like 3% THC. So anything you read in, how to use THC medicinally, they're talking like, making a tea out of it, 3%. People have 25% THC. It's toxic. That's why people, they're having like, that crazy flip out, hallucination kinds of stuff. It's really abused. It was a medicinal plant that's now been completely abused. But even at 3% THC, here's what happens. When you ingest it, on the back of your spine, near where your spine meets your, the tailbone there, pretty close to there, there's a gateway. And in what's coming up soon, which I haven't taught, which will be like level 5 or something of the 90-day challenge lightning qigong, there's a way that we tap into that and we open up that energy gate. And it's like an aperture. It's on your back and it's like an aperture, like a camera lens. It opens and closes. When you need more energy, it will open to pull in more energy from your aura. And it controls how much energy goes up your spine into your head. When you ingest THC, that hole, that sphincter, whatever it is, opens wide. It opens up full blast 100%. When that happens, all of the energy in your aura, which is your protective energy that protects you from everything, including viruses, bacteria, negative feelings, evil spirits, other people's thoughts, that aura then gets sucked up your spine into your head. It also, because when it, the more THC you have, the wider it opens and the more energy, it starts pulling in all of the energy outside of you, which is filled with gunk. And if there's any beings hanging around, they'll get sucked up into your aura as well. And that energy gets sucked up into your brain pan, which is why you feel like you're floating. Why you think you're having these really deep thoughts, man. I was looking at my thumb yesterday, man, and there was like, I thought, what if there's like a dude in my thumbnail on a little earth and he's smoking weed and he's looking at his thumbnail and oh man, that's so deep. No, it's not. It's ridiculous. You want to see how deep your thinking is? Let your friends get high, you don't get high, and sit and listen to the things that they say. They end up sounding like idiots. When you ingest THC, your whole aura and all of the energy outside of it, positive or negative, gets sucked up into your head, and like your head blows up like a balloon. This is called being high. I don't give a flying fuck if people use it medicinally. If they do and it helps them, great. But here's something else I've learned. People who use THC medicinally and their experience is it reduces their pain or their anxiety, that's purely psychosomatic. Because the truth is that THC is a stimulant. This is why people get paranoid. And if you have the feeling that it's reducing your pain, it means that your pain is psychosomatic, number one, and this is just a placebo effect. Because the truth is that it makes things worse. It creates more inflammation. So it's really not all that medicinal. If somebody wants to use it, if somebody's dying of cancer or whatever and they need to smoke weed, on the way out, my hat's off to them, go for it. But Kunga Dorje, you think that because you're calling it medicinal that it's somehow good for you. And you want me to swallow that bullshit. I know why you did it. You did it to feel better. You did it to stuff your emotions. So let's not bullshit each other. I've done my share of weed as well. I know exactly what it feels like. You say, I don't think weed is all that if it's done medicinal, but once your ailment stops, then so does the medicine. But the thing is that when you take weed, your ailment's not going to stop. It's going to continue. There's no reason for it to stop. Because the payoff is, as long as I have an excuse to keep doing this stuff, I can make myself feel better. So people don't ever get over their joint pain or their migraines or whatever because there's no reason to. So let's stop bullshitting each other. Okay? Creative Virgo question. My endurance for Cobra and Pyramid is pathetically short. So she's talking about exercises in the 90-day challenge here, which I lead you through, which open up your heart center, and the pyramid will actually open up it will empower your aura. If you want to do the opposite of THC, do the pyramid meditation. You'll actually get the benefits that you want to get out of THC, but without any of the negative side effects. She says, my endurance for Cobra and Pyramid is pathetically short. I believe that. So I'm willing to bet that you have done all these things. I'm willing to bet you've done chemicals, alcohol, THC, cigarettes, right? So what's happening is that you're detoxing, but really what's happening is that your unconscious is wanting to put the brakes on, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to let the unconscious go at its own pace. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to blow a fuse. So one of the symptoms is that you'll be incapable of holding the posture. Your body will start shaking, and maybe you'll get sweaty or whatever, or you'll feel panicky, or you'll be tired or whatever. It's your body it's the nervous system trying to align itself to the vibration of the energy. So it's okay. Take your time. You say, my endurance for Cobra and Pyramid is pathetically short. Can focusing an element in those areas? No, you're not using the elements right. That's not how that works. So you're trying too hard. No. Focusing element in those areas, sounds help strengthen, or just keeping on. Yeah, you just keeping on. You're already using the elements, and you're doing what'd you say? The Cobra and the Pyramid. You're already using the elements. So I want you guys to stop thinking of the elements as some sort of like pill that you take. Why don't I take this pill for that? Everything, the elements are in everything. Okay? You asked a question earlier about, if I'm in a conflict with somebody, can I use this element? So it tells me you're wanting to use the elements like that, and I understand that that's okay, but I would like for you to change the way you look at the elements. You're already all the 5 elements. You don't want to use the elements. You want to balance them. But no, that's not how you do it. You just keep doing it. Like you said, go through the shift. It's like, the runner's high. The runners get really tired, and then whatever they are, the pheromones or the endorphins kick in, and then they get the runner's high. You know, if you're doing the practice, then all of a sudden you'll get a second wind, it'll kick in, the energy will balance out. And then the arms will just stay up, you won't even have to try and hold them out anymore. You know, when you're doing the thunder posture, for instance, you won't even have to worry about it. It'll just magically, the energy will hold you up. What else? All of these negative experiences when you're doing the practices is the unconscious mind fighting back. It means the unconscious mind is losing the battle. It means that you're reprogramming your blocks, you're reprogramming your false assumptions, your negative programming, your ineffective programming is being reprogrammed, and your unconscious is trying to fight back because it thinks it's dying. So you have to go through the death. Don't stop. Keep doing the practice. This is called discipline. Discipline is the thing you need most to do the opposite of what your instincts are telling you to do. All right, Sinley question. How have you enjoyed your Dr. Manhattan transformation? Sinley, welcome to the channel. I don't know if that question is honest or not. I'd like for you to go deeper than that. You've asked me just this really general question. It's too general. And it doesn't tell me that you're really asking because there's something you want to learn. So go deeper than that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for asking your question. But I'd like for you to go deeper with your question. And the more you watch, the more, and especially if you do the practice, you won't have to ask me how my Dr. Manhattan transformation is going. And you don't have to ask questions about, you know, am I capable of turning my skin blue? Again, I can't tell if that's an honest. Obviously, that's Dr. Manhattan. He's got blue skin. He's a fictional character. I'm a real person. So ask me, forgive me for saying so, an intelligent, honest question. And you won't have good questions until you do the practice. So if you want to do that, you can do the Hool breath, which is free. You can do the Awakening the Immortals Qigong on my channel, which is free, as well as all the other, the Thor's hammer and everything else, which is also free. But if you want to get started on the real stuff, you can go to the thunderwizard.com. I don't even know, thunderwizard.com, and you can go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com. Do the practices. Then you'll have an intelligent question that I'll actually want to answer. Welcome to the channel. Kunga Dorje, I didn't say you were being passive aggressive. You say you don't even smoke. So then why would you bring that up? Think about what you just did. Who are you defending? If you don't smoke weed and you just heard me talk about how negative weed is, why did you feel the need to codependently defend somebody else who's using it medicinally? Why would you do that? Are there people in your life that you know that smoke weed? Do you feel you need to defend them? It doesn't make sense, Kunga. There's something else going on why you would ask that question. Jameson-san question. Speaking to my sister more and am noticing telltale signs of her picking up the mental illness of my mom. Your perspective to encourage contrary action, acceptance, and healthier relationships. So your sister didn't pick up recently. If what you're saying is she's recently showing symptoms, my understanding with that mental illness that your mom has is that you see flashes of it, but then it really takes hold in early adulthood. So that was there, you know, again, you get 3 years to get it right. So she's been, you know, the best way to make one of those particular disorders is to be raised by somebody who has that disorder. So it's not surprising, sadly enough, that your sister has that, or showing signs of it for sure. But what is it that you want me to know? My perspective? It's completely out of your control. It's none of your business. It's not your karmic path. It's hers. Her soul chose to have that. If she wants help, she can get it. All she has to do is ask. All she has to do is go online and look for it. If she wants to heal, she can. It's none of your business. Your job is to stay out of it. Your job is to stay out of her life unless she asks you for help. And the only help that you're interested in helping her with is she says, where do I go to heal from this mental issue, from the damage from childhood? If she asks anything else, can you help me move? Then you say no. You say, no, thanks, I don't have time. If she wants help in her personal, emotional, psychological, then you can say, here's what I do, here's a website, here's a number. I wish you all the best. What else? Jameson Son, honest feeling. Asking little sister to be emotional, agenda honest when interacting with me is just useless as trying to ask my mom, ? Yes. You know that. This is your codependence. You don't dive into the shark tank and then try and talk the shark out of eating you. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter how many times you do that. The shark's going to eat you every time. That's the shark's nature. Contrary action. When you want to tell your sister something, when you want to interact with your sister, you call your sponsor. You go to the gym. You meditate. You do something opposite. When they're talking to you on the phone and they're starting to get nuts, instead of buying into it and reacting, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I got to go. I've got a call. I'll call you later. And you hang up on them. That's opposite. Kunga Dorje, read it. What is it you want me to read? Can you read what I wrote? What? Why are you yelling at me? You said I wasn't being passive aggressive. I read that. You keep yelling at me to read. You're worried about being passive aggressive. You're being completely aggressive. You're yelling at me. Read it. Read it. Well, if you're going to finish reading the second part after you eviscerated, maybe you would see what I said. Yeah. So obviously I got to that, didn't I? So relax. Give me some time to catch up. Jeez. Can you read what I wrote again? All caps, screaming at me. No, I never said that. You didn't finish reading what I wrote. All right, let's go back. I don't think weed is all that if it's done medicinal, but once your ailment stops, then so does the medicine. But you're right, being a stoner is avoidance. Are we okay now? I read it all. I still don't understand why you needed to talk about it. It didn't make any sense to me. Something going on. I don't know what it is, but it didn't make sense. Again, it's just better to just ask a question. Look, here's the thing. People chime in for all kinds of reasons. People chime in because they want to be part of the conversation. Most of the time, people, when they're chiming in, they want to show everybody how smart they are. Their ego is coming. So part of it is I'm reacting to people's need to stand up and have an ego. Look at me, I'm smart too. And that's kind of what you did here. You're giving us your opinion on, I don't think weed is all that bad, but if it's done, and then you're giving this, it sounds like a rehearsed speech. It sounds like a codependent rehearsed speech that you've given to somebody else. And here was another opportunity for that. Now that's human. Everybody does it. And that's why I tell people just ask questions, because I can smell that and I don't like it. We're not sitting around at a bar drinking and everybody's throwing in their 2 cents. It's a lecture. I am lecturing to you and you can either take it, use it, or decide I'm full of crap and watch something else. When I want a guest speaker, I will invite them, Kunga Dorje. When I want you to give us your nuanced perspective on the subject, I will ask you and I will have you come on as my Zoom guest and we will both have an interview. Until then, there's a pretty good chance I'm going to respond negatively to your need to show everybody your opinion. Sorry about that. I know that's totally different from what normally happens, but that's why I say don't ask questions unless they're honest or if you have an honest feeling. Jameson-san, question. See, and all that trying to get me, doubling down, trying to get me to read it again. And now I went even further and basically said, everybody, I thought that you were just kind of full of yourself in that moment. It's just best to just back off. Just take your hands off the hot stove. I'm a hot stove. I give you guys directions, for your benefit, so you can best interact with me. Ego. We all have them, myself included. Jameson's son question: could you elaborate on dementia from lifetime of pushing down emotions? I don't think I need to elaborate on it. I think that's exactly what dementia is. I think, first let me say this. I think that, now that I myself am approaching senior citizen status, being 57, 60's right around the corner. I mean, I swear to God, last night it was cold here, so I put on my little toboggan hat or whatever that is, and I was, whatever. And the light in the bathroom is horrible, and before bed I walked in, I look at myself and I go, holy crap, who is that old man? All the gray hairs popping out of my eyebrows and the sunken cheeks and the, all the collagen leaving my face, thinking, God, now I know why people get their neck tucked in. So I'm reaching that stage of, I know I'm this is it. We're coming towards the end of this incarnation, or the last third of this incarnation. And age-related illnesses. Here's my take on age-related illnesses. There is no such thing. Pick your illness. High blood pressure, whatever it is, pick it. Arthritis. I've come to the conclusion that all of them are not illnesses. The only thing that makes them age-related is when we have unresolved conflict, which you have from the moment you're born. From the moment you're born, you are being programmed, and that programming will determine what your karmic and unconscious conflict with yourself will be. Whatever diseases somebody has at age 90, the seeds for those diseases were laid in the first 3 years of their life. Because their soul, left to itself and encouraged and empowered, will be perfect, which means that the body will be healthy, you'll have zero illness, you'll have zero emotional, psychological, or physical illness. If we didn't have karma and if we didn't have our programming, there would be no need for hospitals. There would be no need for medicines. All of the work that I'm teaching you guys to do, all of that stuff is one way to help reset the clock and get rid of all the unconscious conflict so that it doesn't erupt in the body. So there is no such thing as age-related illness, including dementia. My mom had dementia. She had dementia the last few years of her life. Couldn't remember anything for more than 10 seconds at a time. But I remember my mom was constantly shoving her feelings down, and she would go out of her way to deny things that happened. There was no shortage of times that, all three of us kids, me and my brother and my sister, be standing there talking to my mom, and somebody would say, yeah, but Mom, you said such and such. She'd go, I never said that. And like a chorus, we would all go, yes, you did. You said, and we'll give her the date and the time that she said it. She'll go, I never said that. That didn't happen. I don't remember that. And so at the end of her life, guess what? She didn't remember anything. It's the end result of decades of shoving down her thoughts and her feelings, and then she ended up dying with dementia. So, the body part will tell you. Somebody ends up getting kidney disease, it's because they didn't feel empowered by the universe. If somebody has liver disease, it means they're full of resentment. If somebody has joint pain and arthritis, it means that they suffer from unresolved anger about moving through life. Pick it. That's my belief. I mean, I just went through that. I'm going through, as I may have shared with you in one of the previous live streams. I know exactly where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. I am not thinking, where am I going to go? I know exactly now. I found my Shangri-La. I found it. I found the one place in the universe, on the planet, where my body is completely at its happiest, and I have everything that I want at my fingertips. All the surfing, all of the forest, all of the nature, all of the beach, all of the warm water, all of the semi-tropical, all of the girls in bikinis, all of the people into spirituality, and it's just Disneyland for me. Endless forests filled with cockatoos and giant lizards and koalas and warm water to swim in, empty waves. I mean, just my perfect, if I were to die and create my perfect fantasy, it already exists. I found it. When I start going there, I go there regularly now. I'm going to end up moving there once all the, after all the pandemic thing calms down. I'm going to move there, and every time I go there, I get healed and more empowered and more happy. And then right now what's happening is my right knee will flare up, and it will get really stiff and painful. Whenever my right knee is in pain, it means that I am in conflict about moving forward in my life. If my left knee starts getting unhappy, it means that I feel that there's a woman trying to hold me back. So I'll be angry about that, and I'll have to struggle with my codependent need to try and fix and take care of some woman's needs, or living my life and being free. If I'm on the verge of having real expansion in my life because I was taught that I didn't deserve that, because I had an older brother who was so jealous anytime I accomplished anything, or a father who was so intimidated even though he was an award-winning physicist, I've been programmed to shame myself out of my success and my happiness. So that's how I know. Boom, pops up. But I do the opposite. I go to the gym anyway. My knee's the size of a basketball. I go to the gym, and then my knee goes down, and then I feel empowered, and then I go and do the opposite, even though in my mind my brother's in my head yelling me, calling me a stupid loser, and how dare you, and that's mine, you shouldn't have that, and I go do it anyway. And then it calms down and it goes away. But age-related illness is a result of decades of not listening to the conflict and not doing the opposite. When I tell you guys to do the opposite of your feelings, I'm actually giving you a recipe to avoid age-related illnesses. All right, what else? Could you elaborate on dementia from the lifetime of pushing down emotions? I feel more cognizant of my limits and would like to use some of the practices to help my dad transition. It's not your job. If your dad came to you, Jameson, and said, Jameson, I'm interested in these things that you do. Will you help me to overcome this? Teach me this practice that you're doing? Anything short of that, you are being abusive. Jameson, this is your selfish need to, number one, feel like a good person, because when you don't take care of them, you feel like you're a bad boy. You feel bad, you feel worthless, you're full of rage when you don't fix them. And that rage is, you're either angry at them or you're angry at yourself. This is true for everybody. You're either angry at other people or angry at yourself. And when we're not allowed to tolerate our anger towards other people, then we turn it around on ourselves. This is guilt. Anybody who's full of guilt, it means that they're full of rage, but they don't feel that they have the right to have that anger. So instead of being angry at their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother, their wife, their cousin, whomever, they turn it around on themselves. And then you end up with, I can't get out of bed. Help me overcome my laziness. So it's none of your business, Jameson. If your dad wants your help, he'll ask for it. And you only want to respond to the requests for helping him, if he wants to get healthy, if he wants to, the questions. Any other questions, you say, no, I can't. And you go live your life. Baba Junzo question, is it true that the pericardium meridian goes up into the chin? If it is, I'm not aware of it, but that's okay because I'm not a complete expert on all of the pericardium goes into a bunch of different places, so it's possible. The main pericardium meridian starts here at the end of the middle finger, goes up the palm, I don't know if you can see me or not. It goes up the palm, goes here, goes up around the shoulder, comes down, passes the nipple, and then goes straight to the heart. Then it goes down to I'm holding this up like you can see it. Then it goes down to the navel and back up. That's on both sides. That's the main pericardium meridian. There are other meridians that branch out from it, comes up from the chin or whatever. That's a possibility. I honestly don't know. I don't know why you're asking. I'm curious because I seen in a book. So can I correct your speech? I have seen. Are you in the hills of Virginia? I've seen in a book, because I've seen in a book that it goes there. And during lightning Qigong, I feel a strong energy sensation there too. Well, if you saw it in a book, and that book is a valuable resource, then I would say that's probably true. If you're feeling it coming up to your chin, it makes me wonder if there's something having to do with speaking your truth. Interesting that you manifested me, telling you to stop giving me your opinion. I didn't ask for it. So maybe it means you need to teach on your own, platform scenario. God Emperor, honest feeling. I have fear that my question I asked will be forgotten. Yeah, as soon as I saw you, that's okay. You can remind me. I'll get to it. Jameson, son, and again, God Emperor, you know the drill. I don't want you, even before I come on, I don't want you to throw a question up. I want you to have the patience to tolerate your feelings. I know, knowing what I know about you, that's something that's going to be challenging because you're going to want to talk about the thoughts and the feelings that are going on, and you're going to want to dominate conversations. I know, because I do it too. And I'm wanting to give you an opportunity to do something different. Learn how to just tolerate the intense feelings and thoughts that are going on and not have to constantly verbalize your thoughts and your feelings all the time, which is opposite of what I tell everybody else. But, it's helpful for you to, because what you're doing is, in that scenario, is you're needing to offset the emotions. You're needing to act out on the emotions. And it will be helpful for you to have all of your emotions and learn how to tolerate them and have the discipline to sit with them. So sit with them, then hear me talk, and then maybe ask your question. So I'll look at Jameson's question, then I'll go up and look at your question. Jameson's on honest feeling. Truly appreciate advice on how to not engage with my system, stay out of healing approach. Doing that makes me feel sad, guilty, projecting desire to save my young self, scared to give up. Good. The important thing is that you're seeing what's driving everything, which is the need to save your young self. That's a projection. So that means every time that you want to fix and help, it's not coming from an honest desire to be helpful. It's coming from a selfish desire to save your past self. When you can become aware of that, which you are, which is the whole point, becoming conscious of the unconscious, then you can take constructive action regardless of your feelings. In that moment, you can't get any more enlightened than you are right now. Because right now, you know that your projection is to save your younger self, and you're scared that if you don't save somebody else, that you won't be saved. Knowing that feeling means that you're conscious of it, and then you realize, okay, this is my narcissism. My need to fix others is actually selfish, and it's abusive when I thrust it on other people without them asking. And then you get to take the opposite action, even though it's driving you crazy because you really want to go do that other thing. That moment, even if you're so crazy that you want to tear your hair out, that is the pinnacle of enlightenment. That's all enlightenment is. Anybody listening to me, you want to be enlightened? Be conscious of all of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, impulses, and instincts, regardless of how intense or uncomfortable they are, and still have the conscious awareness to take constructive action for yourself and others, even if it's completely opposite of all your feelings. If you do that, you are by definition enlightened, as fully enlightened as anybody can be. Enlightenment has nothing to do with how many feelings you have or don't have. It's about having conscious awareness and taking conscious action. If you do that, you are by definition enlightened. So right now, Jameson, you have hit the pinnacle. You are now enlightened. Now, of course, you're going to have to maintain that. But in terms of your enlightenment, you can't get any more enlightened than you are right now. All right, let's go back to God Emperor's first question before I was even on. He says, I have been having weird dreams involving you. Is your higher self infiltrating my dreams? I don't think so. I think what is first, let me say it's possible, because I, like you, am just a holographic projection. My true self is much, much greater than this avatar of this three-dimensional avatar, whom I call, Michael Denny / Mahadeva. So it is possible that my spirit is, far many more places than I can comprehend with my human psyche. So I'm not going to say it's impossible. My feeling is probably not. I think who you're seeing in your dreams is your unconscious mind, could even be your higher self, is showing up in your dreams, and it's taking on a form that you recognize. So you recognize me as a spiritual teacher, or your spiritual teacher, and so your unconscious mind will create me when you're trying to work through concepts. But it doesn't mean that just because you see me in your dreams, it doesn't mean that whatever I said is real. It might be a fear. You might have a fear of teachers or a fear of authority, and you might dream that I'm, slicing you open and eating your entrails, which, so it doesn't matter. So the point is, dreams are great, but they don't necessarily mean everything. They could mean exactly what you're asking. It could be me or some other being coming in and teaching you something. It could be your fantasies or your fears. The thing about dreams and visions is you acknowledge them, you write them down, and then you reality test them. If it happens in real life, and you can back it up and there's no way you could have known that, then you had a real vision. But if you had a vision that the COVID vaccine is filled with tiny little robots that will then upload all of your information to the mothership in the sky, it's a pretty good guess that it's your unconscious, fear-based victim mentality, and you're having a dream about it. You say you were massaging me and using some kind of lotion and hitting points on my body. Well, I don't know what that means. It probably means that, here, let me make a guess. It could be that doing the exercises that you've been doing the 90-day challenge or the whole breath or something. It could mean that your meridians are starting to open up. And so your unconscious mind is experiencing that, and you're having a dream. You've symbolized me being the teacher, opening up your energy points. So those are good things, if that's happening. Do I think that I did that? I think probably not, but anything is possible. Let's see what else. God Emperor says, I feel like I have difficulty remembering. I tend to forget things if I don't put it into words right away. Yeah, so again, your particular issue that you deal with, I believe that's part of your thing. So that's something that you need to talk with your psychologist about. But I think there's a middle ground where you can put your feelings into words But this is the strange thing is that that's what everybody else needs to do. 99% of everybody listening to me needs to learn how to put their feelings into words. You, because of your makeup, that doesn't necessarily help you. As you know, it gets you into trouble. It's bad contact functioning. You can't constantly be saying everything that comes to your mind all the time to everybody. It's narcissistic, and it can be abusive, and it doesn't help you. So learning how to tolerate and be patient and discipline yourself to let those feelings be there, and learn how to wait until it's an appropriate time to communicate. Let's see, what else? Yeah, your thoughts and your feelings are going fast. It's difficult to catch up. I get that. Again, that's kind of beyond my pay grade. Something you need to talk with your therapist about. Jameson-san, question. You've advocated the Huna method for praying for others, forgiving judgment of them in myself. In addition to that, what method would you recommend to pray for Dad in a way that's not codependent? Well, there's nothing wrong with, in your meditations, sending him positive energy. There's nothing wrong in your meditations or in your prayers, asking for him to be healed. Here's the thing you don't do. Don't turn prayers into trying to get people to do what you want. In other words, if what you want to say is to go to somebody and say, you know what your problem is, you need to drive a Ford, and you need to get up at 10 in the morning, and you need to stop eating dairy and gluten, don't put that into your prayer. That's just your codependent, abusive, narcissistic controlling. So, in the 12-step groups, they say, pray that they find happiness, joy, and freedom. May they find their happiness, their joy, and their peace, and their freedom. In other words, it's not you to figure out what they need, but you pray that they get whatever that is. And there's nothing wrong with sending positive healing energy to somebody. There's nothing wrong with sending loving energy from your heart into their heart. Nothing wrong with any of that. That will only help you, and it will very likely help them. It may not, give them the ability to do what you think and what I would think they need to do. But there's nothing wrong with doing that. In fact, it can be very healing to do that. Jameson-san, honest feeling. One above where you picked up chat from God Emperor has meant you missed a question I had. Upon reflection, I worry it will be missed. I will abuse from ignorance seeing Dad before our appointment. I don't think I missed it. I went back up and read his thing. And then I came back down to you. So I don't think I missed it. All right, no more questions. Okay, so that's it, guys. So I've just uploaded Metal. So the one thing, if you're already doing the Mao Shan, let me just explain to you what's going to happen. This is exciting. I love these 5 elements. So the wood element, now those of you who have had one-on-one sessions with me, you've seen that I've even tightened it up and taken it into a different place than you probably thought it could go. And a couple of people have been really excited about that. I was too. So there are rules. You start to follow certain rules with the wood, where to put the hand and the foot and how to do this and the different angles. And then you move into the next element and all or some of those rules get broken. And then you have to learn new rules, which will give you a new entry into a new power, a new way of looking at the world. And then you'll see what the wood is really trying to do. And then the rules for the metal will change when you get to fire. We'll break those rules. And the fire will have its own rules. Then we'll get to the water, we'll break rules again. And then when you get to the earth, it's like there's no rules to this thing. It's just, so it's a really, really wonderful, exciting, energetic journey. So just be prepared for that. The metal is up. You can go ahead and get started with that if you're already doing it. If you haven't, get it now before the price goes up even further. And everybody, including the Mao Shan guys, they need to be doing the Warrior 90-Day Challenge. Because that's going to be the university. As you know, I've given you the secret mudra. I keep giving you tiny little things, which if you put it all together, you're going to have a tool chest full of very sacred, simple, esoteric keys that literally unlock the universe. Unlock your connection to the ascended masters. The more that you keep doing this, the more you will have a direct communication with the ascended masters, who can teach you far more than I could ever teach you. But you have to do the work. And I think I've already revealed stuff that you're not going to find anywhere. I mean, I know I've revealed stuff you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you want to empower yourself, do it. And of course, it empowers the channel. It's what keeps me here. So the thunderwizard.com, you've got courses.thunderwizard.com, which has everything, all of my services, astrology, runes, all of my video courses. Energy healing, if you want me to do my normal nighttime practice, but have you be the focus and send you that energy of transformation, you can. And of course, the 90-day lightning qigong and the maoshan.thunderwizard.com. Okay, did I do all the business? All right, there's some other things that came up at last minute. Let's see. Jameson-san, question. In the past, when I left for Australia, he did ask me to empower him with some practices for his healing. Now his mind has faded. Would it still be abusive to hold that request in escrow to give now? I mean, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but there's nothing wrong with you in your own time doing exercises and sending him energy. There's nothing wrong with that. So again, Jameson, you're just so hard on yourself. If it makes you happy, do it. God Emperor, my experience was so powerful I had to cut back a little. He's talking about the 90, or I don't know if it's the 90-day or the whole breath. He had to cut back little by little, but I can testify the lightning challenge is the real deal. God Emperor, I had advised not to cut it off entirely. My experience of doing that was very troubling. Everybody's different. So you got to listen to yourself. I don't have any rules. This isn't a cult where you have to come in and do what I say when I say. I mean, the exercise. I even say, anything that I teach on video. By the way, anything I teach on video, I know already. No matter what I say, even if I said you can't do these out of order and you must do this perfectly, even if I did that, people would take it out of order just because I told them not to, and they would even well-meaningly do things wrong. So you don't have to worry about that. I suggest that you follow my directions to the letter because I think you'll get better results. But once you start doing the practices, you can pick and choose. It's a smorgasbord. The only things you can't do is you can't do the elements in any random order. You have to do them in one of the two orders that I give you because you could hurt yourself. Other than that, the only other thing that you have to do is you have to ground. So you have to end the practice either with doing the whole breath or putting your palms over your navel and breathing long and deep. Outside of that, you can do whatever you want. You can do it as often as you want or as little as you want. You can do only the morning or only the evening, or you can do it for a week and stop for a week. You can do whatever you want, whatever feels best for you. It's yours now. If you want what I have, then you might want to do what I did, which was I trained a lot to get to my Dr. Manhattan status, which when I was younger, I was a walking Dr. Manhattan. I trained for hours every day, and I went through that. I went through that experience of just being torn to shreds, and it was incredibly painful and overwhelming and all of that. But in order to get to your true destiny, your true potential, which is what Dr. Manhattan signifies. He signifies human beings reaching their ultimate potential. In order to get to that, you have to clean out your hard drive. Your hard drive is filled with all kinds of stuff. You have to defrag your hard drive. your hard drive, which is your base uh, unconscious mind, which was programmed from ages 1 to 3 and beyond. You have to go back and reprogram yourself, and it can be painful, challenging, and a lot of hard work. But if you do that, you will then get rid of all the unnecessary ads, adware, malware, the unnecessary programs that are taking up all of the RAM and hard drive space. And when you end up with just your hard drive and just the software that you need, which is your psyche, your cleaned out psyche, then you have all of this free RAM and hard drive space to then do that kind of stuff. That's all that it is. Everybody can do it. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being spiritual. It's just about being a true human, about achieving your highest. Not all of us achieve it. In fact, I don't know anybody that's achieved it 100%. And everybody that I've seen has still been human. So you're not going to get rid of your humanity. But if you want to have that, you got to clean your hard drive, and that's what I'm teaching you how to do. If you do especially the 90-day warrior lightning qigong, if you follow that, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a clean hard drive space with a lot of RAM and a lot of free space to then focus on achieving your highest potential, which will mean happiness. You can get to a place where you can, when things come up, like things come up with me, like the other day, because I pushed myself beyond my limitations of what I thought I deserved, and I went beyond my current level of negative programming, my unconscious fought back, and it fought back with some knee pain. And so you're going to have your setbacks as well. I've never seen anybody that didn't have that. But when you go through that and you're willing to let your unconscious release all that negativity, which is uncomfortable, when you get to the other side of that, you're going to have more money, more health, more happiness, more love in your life, more opportunities. And you eventually can get to the place where you can just simply intend your reality, and it will happen. I mean, I've gotten to that place where I can do that, a lot more than I used to. So that's where you're headed with all this. And if that's what you want, this path is here for you. Let's see, any last minute thoughts or questions? Jameson Son, clarification. I'm visiting him in his new home and would like to give him a practice to do if he wants for his end of life. Let him ask. I mean, I don't know him. Maybe if you have a relationship with him, you can say, hey, Dad, I have a gift for you. Maybe you can give it to him. But, I mean, my feeling is, let him ask. Or just put it out there and say, hey, I've got something for you. If you want it, let me know. I'll be happy to give it to you. Say, thinking of doing a Vedic reading and helping him set up altar and mala beads. I mean, I don't know him, so if he wants to do that, great. I got nothing against you doing that. The only thing I'm trying to help you with is, the need to go and, give it to him. I'm going to do this for you, and I'm going to do that for you, and I'm going to give you this. Let him decide if he wants something from you. But you know the situation better than I do. Again, at the most, I would say to him, I have something I'd like to give you. It's a Vedic reading and some practices, which, I'd love to set up an altar for you. If you want that, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. And then let him ask for it. It's important to let people ask for things. This is why, again, I only take questions. I only take questions because when you ask a question, then it means you want something. I mean, I come and I do these lectures and I spout my opinion, but nobody's forcing you. I never knocked on anybody's door and said, hey, I need you to watch this video. I never did that. You're choosing to come on and watch me do that. But it's important that, when it comes to these kinds of things, we let people ask. Let students ask. The reason why you have to take money if you do a service or you teaching some kind of spirituality is because the money is the request. The request opens up the universe. And we have to learn how to ask the universe. Because the universe will not force anything on us, positive or negative. The universe will not force anything on us. The ancestors, the ascended masters will not force anything on you. But if you ask and you know how to ask, they will, I mean, I'm telling you, there's knowledge that's just waiting to be downloaded that is far beyond anything that I can even imagine. And if you're the one that asks the right question, you'll be given it. They'll bypass me and give it to you. They don't care. Learn how to ask questions. It's the sacrifice. The reason why our ancestors sacrificed valuable things, which to them the most valuable things they had were their livestock. They sacrificed their livestock because when you ask, you open up the universe to give to you. Don't demand, ask. What else? Jameson says, thank you. All right, and he's going to do that. I hope it works out well for you. All right, that's it. No more questions. I've done all my business, so we're done for the day. All right. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care of yourselves.